There has not been a single prophet in history who did not warn his people about him. But why? Why would Noah, thousands of years ago, warn about a danger that belongs to our time? Is it possible that the false Messiah is not a myth, but a biological paradox? An ancient man who has lived since the dawn of humanity, chained on a physical island? Before we start, hit subscribe if you love this type of content and share this video to earn reward. Deeper research into the Israeliyat, ancient historical accounts from the people of the book and the narrations of the companions, reveals a secret that freezes the blood. These ancient accounts point to a terrifying identity. He could be Al-Samiri, the magician from the time of Moses. Traditions tell us that as a baby, abandoned in a cave to escape Pharaoh's soldiers, he was protected and fed by none other than Angel Jibril. Imagine the terrifying irony. The ultimate evil was nurtured by the ultimate good. Because of this special upbringing, he developed a sense of isolation and arrogance, believing he possessed knowledge and power others did not. A pattern we still recognize today in groups that see themselves as enlightened, set apart from the rest of humanity. This explains his terrifying power. The Quran confirms that Samiri saw Jibril when no one else could. He seized a handful of dust from the track of Jibril's horse, dust that vibrated with the essence of divine life. He used it to make the golden calf roar then. But did he keep some of that dust? Is that the secret source of power he will use to resurrect the dead and deceive the world tomorrow? Allah knows best. But stop and think. This reveals to us one of the greatest secrets of existence. It is the fitna that is greater than the creation of the heavens and the earth. In Islamic tradition, there is a special category of beings called Al-Munzarun, the respited ones, or those granted a term. But who are they? These are beings for whom Allah, by His will, has paused their biological clock. We all know of Iblis, Satan, who has lived for millennia. We know about Al-Khidr, peace be upon him, about whom some scholars say that he may still be among us, and Allah knows best. But scholars reveal a terrifying truth. The Dajjal is physical counterpart of Iblis in human form. He's not someone who is yet to be born. He might be an ancient man, born in the age of miracles, perhaps in the shadow of the ancient pharaohs. He is a biological paradox, a man who breathes, but whom time does not touch. The Lord of the worlds has preserved him, frozen in time and chained far from the eyes of the world, as the ultimate test for the final generation. But how do we know this is true? How do we know this isn't just a myth? Because there is an eyewitness account. It happened during the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. A learned Christian monk named Tamim Al-Dari came to Medina to convert to Islam. He brought with him a story so shocking that the Prophet gathered the entire city in the mosque to hear it. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Indeed, Tamim's story has amazed me, for it matches exactly what I have been telling you." So, what did Tamim see? The story says that 30 experienced sailors, led by Tamim Al-Dari, were lost at sea. After a month of battling the waves, tossed around like a toy, the sea finally cast them onto an unknown island. There, they encountered a strange, hairy creature that spoke. When they asked, "What are you?" the beast replied, "I am Al-Jassasa, the spy." It was so completely covered in hair that they could not distinguish its front from its back, nor its face from the back of its head. The being then directed them toward an old monastery located on that island. They entered inside and encountered a sight that freezes the blood. Before them was a man, the largest they had ever seen, bound in heavy chains from his knees to his neck. He asked about the state of the world. Then he asked, "Do the palms of Baisan still bear fruit?" They replied, "Yes, they still bear fruit." He continued, "Is there water in the Lake of Tiberias?" They replied, "Yes, there is water in the Lake of Tiberias." Then he asked, "Has the prophet of the unlettered appeared?" They replied, "Yes, he has appeared." When he received their answers, he sighed, "I am Al-Masih Ad-Dajjal, and soon I will be released." But stop and ask yourself, why specifically the palms of Baisan and why the Lake of Tiberias? Of thousands of places on earth, the Dajjal asked for these exact two coordinates. Why? Because these are not just geographical locations, these are the biological clocks of his release. Look at Baisan. In the time of the prophet, it was a garden overflowing with fruit. Today, those palms are gone or barren. The first condition is fulfilled. And the lake? Why was he interested in its water? And while the world today watches news about receding water levels and calls it climate change, the believer sees a sign. Listen to this closely. Scientists have defined a so-called black line at exactly minus 214.87 meters below sea level. This is the point of no return. If the water drops below this line, the lake becomes irreversibly saline and dead. In the past decade, the water level touched this deadly threshold. Never in recorded history have we been closer to that black line and the fulfillment of the prophecy than we are today. This is not just statistics. This is a countdown. Dajjal's arrival follows a precise sequence. First, the flourishing of Jerusalem, then the desolation of Medina, followed by the Great War or Malhama. After that comes the conquest of Constantinople. This conquest will not be achieved with swords, nor with bombs. The prophet, peace be upon him, said that the city will be conquered by 70,000 sons of Isaac. Many ask, why the sons of Isaac and not the sons of Ismail, who represent the Arabs? Hidden within this statement is a magnificent prophecy. The sons of Isaac are the ancestors of the Romans and the Europeans. This means that before the end of times, a great number of Westerners will accept Islam and become among the best of believers. It is this very army, new Muslims from the West, that will stand before the walls of Istanbul and proclaim, "La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar," and the walls will collapse on their own. But at the moment of their greatest victory, while they are hanging their weapons on the olive branches, a scream will be heard that freezes the blood. Satan will shout, "The Dajjal has appeared and attacked your families." That first scream will be a lie, but the Dajjal's actual arrival is near. The world must be completely broken to accept him. 3 years of terrible gradual drought will ensue. In the first year, Allah will order the sky to withhold 1/3 of its rain. In the second, 2/3. In the third year, a total catastrophe occurs. The sky will not send a single drop of rain, and the earth will not yield a single plant. The earth becomes like copper, the sky like glass. All livestock dies. People are on the verge of death from starvation. But what finally breaks his chains? Is it just a date on a calendar? What is the specific anger, not a date, but an emotion that will finally release him? The prophet, peace be upon him, revealed a terrifying trigger. He said he will emerge because of an anger that angers him. He is watching the world right now, seething, waiting for a specific event that will enrage him so much that he bursts into our reality. And in that moment of despair, he appears. He comes from the east, from a rocky area between Syria and Iraq, short, stout, with red skin. One eye is blind and protruding like a grape, the other shines with malice. Written on his forehead is Kafir, disbeliever, and who makes up his first guard. The prophet was surgically precise. He will be followed by 70,000 people from Isfahan, wearing tayalisa, specific Persian shawls. But ask yourself, how can he bend the laws of physics and travel the world in days? The prophet said 40 days, but one day will be like a year, one day like a month, one day like a week. and the rest of the days will be like ordinary days. Some claim this is just a metaphor for difficult times, but the Prophet destroyed that theory with a single legal ruling. When asked about prayer during that year-long day, he commanded believers to calculate time by the clock, not by the sun. This confirms a literal astronomical event, a terrifying stagnation of celestial mechanics. Think about this physics-defying concept. His first day lasts for a whole year. The Prophet's peace be upon him said that he would ride a donkey whose span between its ears is 70 cubits and which flies at the speed of clouds. Is this a description of modern aviation seen through the eyes of a man from the 7th century? And not only will he travel unimaginably fast, there are ancient traditions that mention a sign that was incomprehensible to the companions, but is crystal clear to us today. It is said, he will shout with a voice that will be heard by the one in the east and the one in the west at the same time. Think about this. How can he be heard across the whole earth with a single shout? 100 years ago, impossible. Today, that is a description of the internet and satellite communication. The Dajjal won't have to come to your door to deceive you. His voice and his face will enter your bedrooms, onto the screens of your phones. The one eye of the camera lens is already in every home, preparing the way. To those dying of hunger, he offers mountains of bread and rivers of water, and not only that. He will demonstrate power over matter itself. He will pass by a desolate ruin and order it, bring forth your treasures, and gold and silver will fly out of the earth and follow him hovering, just as a swarm of bees follows their queen. But beware, his water is fire, and his fire is cold water. He will use the filthiest psychological tricks. He will come to a Bedouin in the desert and ask,
"If I resurrect your dead parents, will you testify that I am your Lord?"
The desperate man will say, "Yes."
Yes, yes.
Then 2 demons will appear in the perfect likeness of his father and mother.
"Son, follow him. He is your God."
He will rush towards Medina, but here we come to a detail that makes one's skin crawl, a detail proving that his time is now. When the Dajjal reaches the hill outside Medina, he will look towards the city, point his finger at the Prophet's mosque and say,
"Do you see that white palace? That is the palace of Ahmad."
Interestingly, the Saudis, intentionally or unintentionally, have constructed a massive infrastructural complex, effectively a palace, on the summit of Jabal Habshi, calling it the Kingdom's Palace. What is striking is that pilgrims visiting Medina from around the world report that local residents often refer to this structure as Dajjal's Palace. Most importantly, from this exact location, there is a clear and direct view of the Prophet's mosque, Al-Masih Ad-Nabawi. Because of this commanding vantage point over Medina, many believe that this is very likely the place from which Dajjal will observe the city when he declares, "This is the palace of Ahmad." At the time this hadith was spoken, the mosque was made of mud and palm fronds. Today, it stands as a grand structure of gleaming white marble, a powerful reminder of the legacy and signs foretold in the hadith about Dajjal's time. However, he cannot enter Medina. Angels guard it with drawn swords. Then he will strike the ground with his foot, and Medina will shake 3 times. From that fear, every hypocrite will go out to him. The situation will be so desperate that men will return to their homes and tie their mothers, sisters, daughters, and wives with ropes to the pillars in the house. Not out of hatred, but out of fear that they will escape and join the Dajjal's army. One brave young man from Medina will go out before him and shout,
"You are a liar! You are not my God! My God is not one-eyed!"
The Dajjal will saw him in half, walk between the parts parts of his body and put him back together.
Come to your Lord!
Now I am only more certain that you are the Dajjal.
Furious, the Dajjal will throw him into his fire. Everyone will think the young man is destroyed, but the Prophet, peace be upon him, reveals a secret to us. The Dajjal's fire is actually Jannah. He threw the hero straight into Jannah. You might ask, what is still holding him in chains? When exactly will he come out? There is one terrifying condition that the Prophet, peace be upon him, mentioned, which concerns us today. Listen closely. He said,
"The Messenger of God, peace be upon him, said, the Dajjal will not appear until people stop mentioning him.
And until the imams on the pulpits stop warning against him." Remember this.
Think about this. When was the last time you heard a sermon about the Dajjal in the mosque? That silence, that stillness on the pulpits, that is actually the sound of his footsteps approaching. Oblivion is the key that unlocks his chains. The end of his tyranny comes in Sham. Isa, Jesus, the son of Mary, descends at the white minaret in Damascus. At that moment, the believers will be lined up for prayer, led by Imam Mahdi. When the Mahdi sees Isa, peace be upon him, he will start stepping back to yield the leadership to him. But Isa will place his hand on his back and say, "No, this prayer is established for you." And thus, the great Isa, a prophet of God, will pray behind a leader from this nation. And the final confrontation begins. When the Dajjal sees Isa, Jesus, son of Mary, peace be upon him, he begins to melt like salt in water, for falsehood cannot stand before truth. Isa pursues him across the land until he overtakes him at the gate of Lud. There, with divine authority, Isa ends the greatest deception the world has ever known. And do you know what is located in Lud today? Israel's main airport. Will the one who traveled by flying donkey try to escape into the air? It is in vain. The prophet described a miraculous power given to Jesus. His breath will reach as far as his eyes can see, and no disbeliever who smells his breath will survive. Isa, peace be upon him, will end his lie there with a single strike. But the miracles do not end there. After the fall of the Dajjal, his army will scatter and try to hide. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The hour will not be established until you fight with the Jews, and the stone behind which a Jew will be hiding will say, 'O Muslim, there is a Jew hiding behind me, so kill him.' But the tree Garkad will not say, for it is the tree of the Jews." And do you know what is fascinating? Today, in modern Israel, massive afforestation projects are being conducted. And which tree do they plant the most? Exactly the Garkad. As if they know the prophecy, as if they are preparing for that day and planting their only shield. Before we end, hit subscribe if you love this type of content and share this video to earn reward.
I know this is scary, but you have a shield. Our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Whoever learns the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf will be protected. That is your armor." Tamim saw the beginning. The White Palace is built. The Gharqad is being planted. Silence has prevailed. We are waiting for the end. May Allah protect you.